Welcome to Yokit Sports and Hobbies. Today I'm going to show you a long weekend of me gardening and preserving food. This is not a how-to video, I'm just showing you what I have going on, and I guarantee you it ain't perfect. Well, that's all you need to know. On to the show. Alright, it's the end of August and the garden really needs to be cleaned up. All these vines need to be put back. But we're gonna start with getting rid of our zucchini and spaghetti squash patch. Everything's already got fruit on it, and the longest thing, or the thing that takes the longest, is the spaghetti squash. And you can see those ants right there. They are getting onto some damage, probably caused by rodents. But the main reason I'm getting these plants out of here is because there's a bunch of spider mite damage, and I've sprayed it with insecticidal soap, but it's just hard to get underneath here, which is where the spider mites live, on the bottoms of the leaves. So we have enough zucchini and we have plenty of spaghetti squash. I've yet to count them, but we're gonna pull these out so we could clean this whole area up, get rid of the spider mites, and then put some fresh stuff in the garden. And a note, I have seen a rodent through here, and I have seen some rodent damage, so I really want to get this out of here. And my dog Chunky really wants to get in here and help me as well. So let's get to it, and let's start on this before any of the other garden. First off, all three garden beds needed revamping at differing levels. The squash were taken out and the zucchini were pruned. The tomatoes and the peppers, they only needed weeding, basically just the old lettuce and all the carrots. But the pickle bed had to be completely taken out, and all the soil had to be turned over due to the gophers. Well, that's way better. The zucchini will probably stand up by tomorrow. Got quite a few spaghetti squash and sugar pie pumpkins, or New England pumpkins, whatever you call them. I ended up pruning the zucchini. I didn't completely take them out. They still ended up having quite a bit of life in them, so I just pruned off all the nasty stuff. And you can finally see the pepper plants. And this garden was completely ravaged by gophers, so I ended up tilling it, and I planted beans, so hopefully they have a quick harvest, and I can till it again to keep those gophers at bay. Oh, yeah, well, I'm gonna finish the rest later. I gotta go inside because the sun is on my shoulders. So then I showered and changed clothes to work in the mushroom lab. I like to spend the heat of the day working indoors. Don't worry, videos on the construction of the lab and the rest of the mushroom operation are coming soon. I'm just behind on some things right now. Alright, it's finally time to get all this and harvest the tomatoes. Some of them are falling on the ground that are only blushing, so gotta take care of all these vines and harvest the tomatoes. So let's get on that real quick. Although it might not be the correct way to do things, I'm letting these wild blackberries grow wildly. This is their first year, and I want as much foliage as possible. The wall of blackberries is intended to be a privacy fence, a deer fence, and a seasonal shade for the east side of the house. Well, looks a lot better already. Got the brambles all pruned up and pinned up into a wall, and harvested most of the paste tomatoes. There's probably still some I missed because it's dark, but it's looking a lot better. So got a little bit of work tomorrow, but got most of the big stuff done, at least back here. time to go back inside. Yeah, well, here's all of our paste tomatoes. We have San Marzano and Roma tomatoes mixed in, so determinates and indeterminates. We're going to be processing them tomorrow, so I just mixed them so all these ones that are partially blushing will ripen under their own ethylene gas. So 35 pounds, 3 ounces. Alright, so we got most of it done on this side of the fence. And this side. Still got to do some weaving. But what we really have to do is that side. So, gonna get started. Let's do it. I made sure to get all of the blackberry vines off of the ground to prevent soil-borne diseases and to keep them from getting mulched by the mower as I'm passing by. And then I harvested some squash, some tomatoes, all of the tomatillos, and all of the peppers from the remaining gardens, which were already clean. Alright, before we bring the squash inside, I'm gonna wash it real quick. I'm gonna pressure wash it to get most of the dust and bugs off. Then I'm gonna spray it with the lemon vinegar water mixture. Then I'm gonna rinse it again. Dry it in the sun for just a few minutes, and then we'll bring it inside. Weigh everything. Alright, we're about to start processing everything that's ripe, at least. We're gonna weigh everything real quick. We already know we have about almost 35 pounds of paste tomatoes. We're gonna be probably processing those first so that way they could drain while we're getting everything else into jars, because we're gonna make some pickled peppers, more pickled peppers, and then we got some green salsa and red salsa coming, so maybe even some yellow and orange salsa, we'll see, and green beans. But yeah, I'll just weigh everything on the time lapse and then put the numbers out so we will know what the harvest is. But let's get on it. Well, before I start that time lapse, I'm gonna open this guy and see exactly what I need to mount it, because I've never used it before. So let me get that down and in the kitchen. And so this is the Norpro Sauce Master. 1951. It has a clamp on the bottom, but I'm not exactly sure what it looks like. I start the processing saga by first slicing, deveining, and salting the paste tomatoes so they could drain any excess water for at least 1 hour. Next, I started on some very overripe pickling cucumbers that I intentionally let go for too long so I could save good seeds. The seeds are completely edible and even good for you, but I prefer to squeeze out as many of the seeds as possible, not only for my palate, but for next year's garden. I let the paste tomatoes simmer for at least 1 hour before busting out the Sauce Master. The machine worked great other than the fact that my setup had low clearance, so I had to squeeze a large saucepan under the sauce chute. I intend on making a weighted stand to solve the clearance issue, as well as to allow me to use any table or any part of my countertop rather than just the edge. Lastly, we have all of our other tomatoes / tomatillos to process, so we start Monday with the red and green salsa. All you have to do for the green is throw the tomatillos in a pan with onions and peppers and cook until the fruits change color, and then blend them together. For the red salsa, I just add onions and peppers to a pot and cook for a bit, then I add the chopped tomatoes and bring the fruits to a boil and blend. The rest of the ripe tomatoes were lazily stuffed into jars and covered in slightly acidic and slightly salty water, and then given a hot water bath. Well, I forgot to weigh all the small stuff, but we had 95 pounds of squash, just weighed the whole bin together. About 30 pounds of paste tomatoes, ended up as 5 jars of pasta sauce. The bowl of tomatillos, we got 3.5 jars of green salsa. The red tomatoes, 3 jars of red salsa. We have 2 jars of pickled peppers. Here's some more of those paste tomatoes. And then we have 6 jars of cherry tomatoes, and those are quart jars that were packed with just a 1/2 inch of headspace, but once I did the water bath, everything floated and it looks like they got a little bit squished in there, so we'll see how fresh they taste. But yeah, quite a bit of stuff. Sorry I forgot to weigh it. And also, since this is my first garden video that I'm posting, all of everything that you see here is all heirloom varieties. I do heirloom so that way the seeds can be reused and replanted, and you don't have to worry about genetic mutations or anything like that. So all heirloom everything, guys, just so you know. Well, thank you to anyone who watched till the end. I'm still learning how to edit videos, and I'm trying to get better at narrating, so thanks for putting up with the quality of my videos. And to my 8 subscribers out there, you know who you are. I want to especially thank you for making the recording and editing process worth it. I've always done my sports and hobbies for my own enjoyment, but I figured some of them might be worth sharing with others. Thanks again, and make sure to have fun doing whatever it is that you do.